City leaders in Denver say they are really pleased with the early results of the city's new performance-based contracts for homeless shelter providers. The city's largest shelter is celebrating that it hit every metric. But that shelter saw a significant drop in the one outcome that matters most: people actually making it into permanent housing. Our Spencer Soisher is looking into the disconnect.
Denver wants to make sure its shelter providers
across all the shelters
are being held accountable, and ultimately, people are moving into permanent housing. To do that, it's trying out performance-based contracts, a pilot measuring shelters by 4 metrics. Rapid resolution scored better if speaking with guests about options other than the shelter. Occupancy, beds full. Case management, did a case manager meet with them? And coordinated entry, the paperwork aspect.
Performance-based contracting that we have put forward is a really innovative model.
Cole Chandler runs the city's Department of Housing Stability. Earlier this year, it handed the keys to the city's largest shelter, the Aspen, to Urban Alchemy. And Urban Alchemy just aced its first test.
I'm looking at the Aspen now, and you guys have met every single metric.
The city is comparing Q2 of this year to Q2 of last year, but the Aspen's rate of getting people into permanent housing when they leave dropped from 58% to 34% year over year, a 24-point drop, the largest of any shelter in the pilot. Even with that, the city is calling this a success because they hit all the metrics.
And with the lack of federal vouchers, that becomes really difficult.
The department is blaming pulled federal housing vouchers for the drop, not the shelter.
For the last 18 months or so, we've seen a drop in investments in federal housing vouchers.
I wouldn't say there's an issue with the metric.
Urban Alchemy is cool with the performance-based contracts and the metrics. They say the permanent housing drop is an initial impact from people adjusting to a new operator.
Sometimes we're just not the right fit for everyone, and sometimes our guests are just not ready.
The metrics might get tweaked, but the city says they believe they have the right foundation for them.
We do believe that we're investing in the right inputs, and that then when we piece together the right parts of the system, like the housing vouchers, the exits to housing, that those things will add up over time. So we're happy with the metrics.
The city says it still evaluates other parts of the shelter, but those 4 metrics are what determine an extra performance payment to the organization, money on top of their regular contract. There was controversy surrounding Urban Alchemy when they took over that shelter. The organization had controversies in other cities. However, council members who seemed resistant to them then said today they're very pleased with how they're running the shelter, Kyle.
All right, some things are indisputable, Spencer, right? That visible homelessness around Denver is down incredibly compared to a couple of years ago. Also, indisputable, the city has spent a ton of money on it, right? But then you start to get into the weeds of like, what do the actual outcomes look like, which is why we're watching these metrics so carefully.
Well, and yeah, and the people who are spending that money are also the ones who are deciding the grade here and how the metrics look. If everything's on a curve, like if you had a teacher and they were giving out all A's, the scale is tipped here.
Right? Yep. But no, that's the reason why we're watching. All right, Spencer Soisher, thank you.